this is corporate responsibility, and we have this first class for this module. So let's start. What do you mean by corporate responsibility has to be covered in this first class. So you can see here the timetable. In this week 1, when we have only one class for this, we will cover introduction, then models of corporate social responsibility, then the types and how we can implement that, and those approaches, community involvement and development, and so on and so forth. So this is the setup, and we have to stick by it. So let's start with the introduction. Whenever you have any module, you always talk about the keywords from which that module is made up of. Here the word is corporate and responsibility. So the literal meaning is that you have to fulfill the responsibility in the corporate world, right? But what that responsibility is all about? Firstly, this CR, which is also known as corporate responsibility, or in broader sense, corporate social responsibility, it has many names. It is called as business sustainability. We may call it sustainable, responsible business form of corporate. We can say that it is corporate citizenship, social performance, all these corporate conscience. These are names with which it is acknowledged. But anyways, if you call it with any name, the meaning comes out the same, which is you have to make an impact. Your organization has to make an impact on the society, on the environment, and the economy. Okay, so it is made up of 3 words, triple bottom line, which is called. One is people. Okay, people means society. Then another is planet, which means environment. And third one is profit. Of course, business is all about economy. Someone wants to get entered, just bear with me.
We'll be admitting those who wants to get in. You can continue, madam. As there will
All
be,
right.
everyone can admit them.
All right. Thank you, Keith. So here we were talking about corporate responsibility, which means all those ethics. When you run a business, you have a responsibility. It's not that you are making plastics, products from plastic, and just throw it in the environment. So you have to make sure that those ethical components should also drive an organization. All those activities, that how your organization should be operated, so that it is not thinking about today only. We have to think sustainably. We have to be viable over the long term. And hence this corporate responsibility comes into picture, which is about if you are having a CR program, that means you want to contribute positively and you are thinking about all of your stakeholders, be it living or non-living. After all, environment is also something which is being affected by us, and we really need it for our survival. So we have to make sure that we operate in a sustainable manner. Are we so good? So far so good for this terminology? Yes.
Yes.
Are we on? Okay. Okay. So now sometimes people ask, see, madam, we have corporate responsibility in which we are talking about society, environment, and economy. Can't we say that this is as same as ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance aspect of the business? No, these two are two different things. Because In corporate responsibility, we are talking about an organization, the responsibility of an organization. Whereas here in ESG, it is like how investors see the company. Is it environmentally okay, socially okay to be to invest, and governance wise how it is working? So if investor is looking at the company, that investor will say that I am reviewing the ESG part of the company. But when an organization fulfill its responsibility, being in the corporate world, if that organization wants to be a corporate citizen, then we say that okay, corporate responsibility is being fulfilled. Okay, now there are many areas you can see. When we say corporate responsibility, we are talking about the benefits of all the stakeholders. So that means we have our workplace where people are there. We have to think about them, their benefit, so that they can work. You know, we have to clap with both hands. Two hands are required to clap. And hence, we have to make sure that our people are happy. We have to create such an environment in the workplace, that internal environment, at least, which we can control, so that our responsibility is fulfilled. People want people want to work in our environment, in our business, to see or to get that appeasement. Okay, uh, by getting attracted towards that workplace. Now, what is next is marketplace. So, of course, your stakeholders are those people through which you are interchanging your product services. You are, uh, making ties. You are creating a network. So, in that marketplace also, you have to think that if a business is running and you are only talking about profit and profit and profit, so you cannot cultivate those practices which can damage the system where you are surviving. Let's say if I say I want to have so much oxygen, but on at the same time want timber also for the infrastructure. How can we have both of the things if we don't think about sustainable development? If we don't think that if we are cutting one tree, we have to plant two or three more, like twice of that amount. So if you are a business and dealing in any such product, you should make sure that damage should not be done to the system where that business is running, because ultimately you will be unsustainable and will not survive in the long run if you don't talk about your responsibility being incorporate. Okay, you can see there are many aspects which have been changed. Now we talk about corporate responsibility before pandemic and post pandemic world. We have categorized the corporate responsibility. Now we have to think, the aspects have been changed. We will talk about this later on. So at workplace, at marketplace, and then in environment, you have to think about corporate responsibility. Now you may ask, how in the environment? You know how we can create that culture where everybody wants to take part in this corporate responsibility without being under surveillance. How can we create? If you want to, let's say, if your product is like you want to export it to some other countries, let's say European countries, okay? Now, European countries, it is mandatory for them to make sure that environment is not affected. So they have strict protocols to save the environment. And for that, they firstly check the labeling and packaging. The ingredients which you are using, are they clearly mentioned on the label? Is the packaging environment friendly? If not, they will never allow you to enter into their marketplace. So see how it works. You are now bound to follow. It may be the case that in your country it is not being followed, but if you want to export your items, you want to make your business globalize, you have to follow those legal aspects of the host country. Correct. So in marketplace, either by your choice or by compulsion, you are fulfilling corporate responsibility, okay, in the marketplace by dealing into such practices. Now, in environment, it is important. For example, let's say you are a company um, which produces so much sound. You know, let's say you are making machines or some product is such sort of product where so much noise is getting out of your infrastructure. Okay. Now, let's assume that you are running a business in the residential area. If you are running a business in the residential area, what is your responsibility? That noise should not harm other people in that place, in that region, isn't it? So what you would do, maybe there are not legal practices happening that you are bound to stop that pollution, but still your inner self will say we have to stop this. Now, we want to make that business profitable. We cannot stop our operations, but we can come up with the sustainable practices. And what are they? Maybe we can have a bed, a field with so many trees, and then reflection of sound will happen, and it will keep your sound, create a boundary for that sound so that it will not go out of a particular region to harm that place. Or what we can do, we have to think of shifting our workplace to some other place where residential area is not there. It has to be an industrial area. So these are responsibilities which you have to fulfill. Then we have community. Ultimately, we are doing it for, people are involved in it. So society is there. So CR starts with recognizing that your means organization's activities have an impact, definite impact on society, environment, and economy, and your own workforce, your internal people who are working for you. You have to make sure to fulfill your corporate responsibility. You have to create value for them. Okay, it is not that it is 9 till 5 hour job and you are taking the work from a person uh, with the output of 2%. No, you have to have some humane things so that people want to work by their choice. It's not the, circumstances which are making them bound to work for you. So this sort of thing makes us human. We have to think for biotic, abiotic, both of the factors. Okay? Is it clear? So if you have to,
Yes.
great. If you have to summarize these areas of corporate responsibility, what would you say? If we talk about workplace, we will say, what's the best way to look after your employees? Okay, your workers in the value chain to create value for them also. Then if you talk about marketplace, what can you say? You can say that what impact does the organization's product or services have? Okay, because you are now talking about market. Is your product or do your products comply with all the fair trading rules? All the corporate taxes and arbitrary, anti-bribery things and requirements are in place or not? Are you following those legal aspects? Those trade tariff rules, okay, corporate taxes, all those things which have to be there in terms of entering a market. These are required. Then you can say that, okay, I am a corporate citizen. Okay, I am fulfilling all those things, all those rules which are not bound, but I am fulfilling those as a human, because ultimately We are living in the global world, but we cannot say, I am in Africa, I am in India, I am in Australia, so I can do whatever I want here, and it will not impact others in other region. Ultimately, we are sharing common, what is it called? Climatic, not climate, but common earth. Um, we have seen Mother Earth, so common earthly units are there. So we have to make sure that our future generation would not say that there were trees once upon a time. No, we have to make sure that these things are sustainable. Then if we say environment, ask yourself before taking any decision of corporate thing, that how can this action make an impact on the environment. Let's say if you are a plastic beads making company, you cannot help it. There is a need. You have to, we cannot get rid of plastic, but you can come up with those recycle, reuse kind of thing. Or you can come up with, when we say we have many alternatives in place of plastic, what you can do. There was one example on the LinkedIn, I got to know about this, that there is a school in eastern part of India where students don't have to pay fees in terms of money. But if they want to come to school and get enrolled, they have to pay the fees in terms of 25 plastic bottles, which they have to store, you know, uh, not by buying those plastic bottles, but whichever waste they have at their homes. Now, these people, the stakeholders, the owner of the schools, they recycle it and forms different sort of things, beautiful ornamental things out of that plastic. So this is one idea of sustainability. And then they tell people, if you are in 10th grade, you will teach 9th grade student. If you are in 9th grade, you will teach 8th grade student. So this is how they are having those cost cutting practices, and at the same time they are working for, this profit is there, but they are also thinking for environment, being a corporate citizen. Then we have community. You have to ask, this decision, can we take that decision which or obviously give us the profit, but with that profit, can it contribute positively to society? For example, if you have seen this IBM, um, IBM is a company, they launch some of the products. You must have come across this type of advertisement, that if you buy this maybe parachute bottle, oil bottle, hair oil bottle, 10% or 5% or 2% of this amount would go to women empowerment, education for women, uh, some sort of social thing. So this is how people will attach with you, will get attached with you, and think that, because of that emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, they would buy like anything from you. So in this way, you will get the boost in terms of profit, and also ultimately you are doing something for society. So you have that goodwill also. You will get the goodwill, reputation in the market. So that's why this corporate responsibility matter. Why it is matter? If you think about others while making profit, that means you are doing the right thing. And how can you take people, make them join you in this course, like common objective, by sharing the same values? Let's see, if we can help needy, then ultimately, see, let's see, if there are two students, one is very good at learning, another one never takes interest in studying. Now time passes, and this one person who never got this interest in studying, because of survival, he had to do something. So he became thief, because he could not find any employment during the course of time. So now what would happen? Ultimately, if these two people are living in one society, this thief will want to snatch every precious thing or most of the precious things from the person who earn it by hard work, right? So if we want that balance in the society, we have to make sure that there is equal distribution of resources. Now some of the people cannot afford it, maybe because of their carelessness or circumstances. There are many refugees. We have to be empathetic enough to do. If God, or if you are an atheist, you can say that some superpower or our hard work has paid off, has given us something, then we should try to contribute to give it back to the nature. Okay, and this is how we can fulfill our corporate responsibility. This is very sort of ethical module which you should know, being a manager, being a leader, being an entrepreneur, being a businessman or woman. You should know about it. Okay, then only you can be classified as a human being. Otherwise there is no point of attaining so many things and doing nothing for the society. Okay, then what happens? If you do something good, it gives you the value from your inner self, that wow, you have done, that pat on the shoulder, you have done a great job. So this is your inner voice. Also it will give the boost to your business because of brand enhancement. That, see, Tata always does these great things, you know or Mark Zuckerberg has done this thing for the society. If they are doing it, Sudha Murthy, if you have heard about her, so Infosys co-founder, so you can see that how these people are fulfilling their responsibility. I'll give you some case studies. I have set up that thing also, and you'll get to know. If you are a Coca-Cola company or Pepsi, you must have heard this case study when Maggie was banned in India, or in the global context also we can talk about, because Maggie, in Maggie ingredients list, it was mentioned that lead amount this much percent. I cannot quote the exact value. So lead, lead is an element. So lead, Lead, lead is an element which is responsible for, we can say, loss of memory. It is there in the petrol and many, it is very useful element, but not for children. But Maggie has this component, had this component in their ingredients, and has. Is there any query?
CDC. Can you see the t-shirt with TTF?
Is it Simon?
You can continue.
Okay. Okay.
Me, madam.
It's all right. Just focus on what I'm saying right now. I was giving you an example of Maggie. You all have heard about it? Maggie noodles?
No.
So it is a product, food product, noodles by Nestle. So, when you have those food products, you should have licensing to sell them, because it is about.
Yeah, this is brown.
It is very crucial for the food components to be certified. Okay, in terms of consumer protection. Now, how many of you see all the ingredients when you buy food items? Have you tried? It is your responsibility also as a consumer, as a customer, to see what is there in the food item which is packed and look very fancy to us. So if you buy that, what if it would harm you? That is the great concern when it comes to food products, cosmetics and all. So Maggie, which is a noodle company by Nestle, you know what they do? I'll show you. So they have this thing. Initially, it was banned in India. And the reason was the ingredients, which was the ingredient which was shown there, the list of ingredients, it was not proper in the right proportion. Okay, so it got banned, and then it has a huge amount of lead component in it, which is harmful for students, for children especially. Okay, so in that manner, I'm showing you the product. Don't feel hungry after seeing this, but yes, so this is Maggi noodle. They have diversified products here, but why I'm showing you is because they did not follow the corporate responsibility. If you are selling any such product, you have to make sure that what disadvantage can it cause to your consumers, because ultimately you are not selling your product, you are selling that logo, that brand, that conscience in your people to have trust and loyalty in you. Okay, so you have to make sure. That's why corporate responsibility matters. Reputation is there, which is associated with your product, with your company's organizations, the way of working, the system, everything. So you have to contribute to social value. Okay, if I ask you what is social value, what can you say? What do you think? What is social value?
In terms of what? In terms of the market or what?
Okay, that's the great question. Just bear with me. So that's the great question in terms of marketplace or community or what. But in general, if you have to tell me, what would you say? The first impression in your mind. What's that?
You asking about social value, right?
Right.
Yeah, for me personally, I would say I would say the value that an entity adds to its surrounding.
Okay.
Socially,
Is
yeah,
there anybody else who wants to contribute?
or an added value, was it right? An added value.
Yeah. So social value, you can say, because we are talking about business. So in general terms, social value is you are fulfilling the purpose of particular thing, but keeping all those emotional aspects in hand, which can bring out happiness, health, well-being, inclusion,
Yeah, sure.
empowerment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we talk about business, we have to have financial transaction. We need that profit to survive. But can we include happiness? Can we
You can
create
also
wealth?
you can also check
Yes.
in the chat box for the question that you asked.
I did not get to come up again, please.
I said you can also check in the chat box for the question that you asked.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, I'll stick to it. Thanks, Peter. Now, if we say that we have CR, I can say it CSR also. We can say it CSR. That means corporate social responsibility. So whenever you as a company, as an organization, create a policy, okay, so you have to make sure that policy works as a build-in, like self-regulatory mechanism has to be there, whereby your business monitors the active compliance. Now, what is this compliance about? You have to follow the laws, ethical standards, and international norms if your business is international. Anyways, if you are a startup and you have not thought of in your wildest dreams that you want your product would be global, but still try to incorporate those norms so that in case in future you have to launch your product internationally because it is so loved, it is so wanted, then try to make it on the global basis, like laws and all those external things, compliances have to be followed. So for that we have ISO standard, okay, international standard number 26,000. So this is a particular standard, a recognized international standard for your corporate social responsibility. Okay, where you have to focus, your business have to focus to promote what? Public interest. You have to encourage the community growth, development, and please try to voluntarily eliminate, not by compulsion. By compulsion, everybody is doing it, but voluntarily eliminate those practices by analyzing them that can harm the public sphere, regardless of the legality. Okay. So there was one company, when we have particulate matter, if you are a business and your exhaust, where your effluent and waste material is going, you have to take care of it. If your exhaust, that air pollution should not be caused by you. So you have to filter it out using any sort of catalytic converter to convert the particulate matter into that, size, which cannot be inhaled directly, which cannot harm people, their respiratory system and all. Okay, so this was the company. They were ejecting the effluents, the harmful air particles, dust particles into the surroundings. Now at the backside of this company, there was a school, primary school. And what happened after a few years, students were started vomiting with blood. Their vomit was having blood in it, So what happened? There was administration and bureaucrats came to investigate what was the matter, and they found out it is because of the respiratory problem, the occupational respiratory disease they had because of this company. Now this company was banned, like sealed by that bureaucracy. What I'm trying to say, instead of, they ultimately wanted to have profit, but if they could have considered the environmental factors, they could have this in long run, right? Which could not happen. So try to follow these CSR practices voluntarily. Okay, try to eliminate practices voluntarily, those which can harm public sphere. And you can have the committee, the corporate social responsibility committee, who can audit your work during an year annually, that what you are doing right, what you are doing wrong, how much you are investing in all of those stakeholders and social aspects, which can be considered that you are fulfilling corporate social responsibility. So when we say CR, this is not a new topic. When there was a rise of multinational corporates, the companies in late 1960s and early 1970s, then only this term was introduced, the corporate responsibility. Okay. And we were talking, and we have been talking about this since then, that it has triple bottom line. What is triple bottom line? I have already explained to you that economic means profit, social, that means people aspect, and environmental, that is planet aspect is there. when you consider to make reports, to make this a shaped policy. So consider all these aspects. Now, you tell me one thing. Are you in favor of this CR or in against? Let me give you the perspective, then you can answer easily. There are few research which say that long-term profits can only be earned by CR. So this is their perspective. But there are some critiques which say that, see, we are business. If we have to be that emotional enough, we cannot earn anything. So this is totally distraction from economic role of business. This is, they do not find it interesting. They neither take interest and nor find it good enough, suitable enough for them as a business part. Then some of the people who are observing it, they are mediator. They say, see, CSR is like window dressing. This is just an attempt. Some of the government, let me give you the example of India. We have corporate tax here, 34%, which is very high. But every single company who has a turnover more than 5 crores, they have to, this is the compulsion by government protocol, by legality, that they have to donate or serve society with 2% of the total profit, which is very huge. But if you set that compulsion, then companies are bound. So some people say, if we do more and more corporate social responsibility, we can get rid of this tax part. Means we can show the government, see, we have done so much corporate social responsibility. How can you impose these many taxes to us? Please give us some, relief from these taxes. So some people say this is totally a bookish concept, and it is an attempt to preempt the role of governments as a watchdog over powerful MNCs. So it is, if we see the perspective of government, they just want to be a watchdog to check the power of MNCs. And if we see the perspective of MNCs, they are doing it to show that, we are doing such a big thing for society. So let's give us a relief. Now, I have explained 3 of the aspects to you. What do you think would be the most appropriate to choose in terms of sustainability? What would you say? Your thoughts?
Could you please repeat the question?
Anoj, I cannot hear you. Guys, I'm audible?
Could you please repeat your question? Could you please repeat the question?
Very audible, but we couldn't get you well.
Oh, did you miss everything which I said? Like, till where? From where? Okay. So I am saying, I have given you 3 aspects of corporate social responsibility. One set of people is saying that yes, it is good because it gives us long-term profits. So it is more sustainable. Clear? Are we on the same page?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
listening.
Next.
Yeah.
Okay. Next set of people say, no, CSR is not good because ultimately we are here to generate profits, and it is totally a distraction from economic role of business. Hence, it is, it is not good. Then there is third set of people who say you know, when we show this thing that we have contributed this much to society, then there is a thinking that government can give us relief in terms of taxation. You know, we can get some relief from taxes because we have donated this much amount. We have contributed to society. So people say CSR is just a window dressing, just a cover up, an attempt so that, you know, government can be a watchdog to check the powerful MNCs, and in return, MNC, what they can do, they could become MNCs, what they can do. They can get the relief from taxation, right? So have you understood these three sets of people and their thinking? Now you tell me your aspect, with whom you want to go. What is the most appropriate aspect you think, and give a backup like to support your statement. Who wants to go first?
I want to try to go first, but I must first of all apologize that I joined the class late, which may
Okay.
not have allowed me, to understand the purpose of corporate social responsibility. I wish I could hear the purpose of corporate social responsibility. Otherwise, I would go for the first part of what people say about the corporate social responsibility, which is about, as you said, it gives long-term profit.
Okay.
I think the more as an entity I do corporate social responsibility, depending with the product and or the service that I may be offering at that time, the more I engage into corporate social responsibility, I want to believe that I should be working in the backdrop of knowing what I want to do, in the sense that I want to attract more clients as I build up also the brand of my entity. So as I do more of corporate social responsibility, I'm strengthening the strength of my brand, and also I can use it as a means to attract more clients to my entity. That is what I can say in a nutshell, since I did not get the area part of what was being given concerning the social responsibility. Thank you. I will hand over.
That's great, Simon. You have put so many things at place. Is there anybody else who wants to contribute in the discussion?
I
Okay.
will also choose this part, which is the CSR. If done correctly, there's a positive impact on humanity. By so doing, that's a value addition, and that's the money we are looking for.
Okay. Okay, Mormbo. And all right. So are we clear about this, that there is no wrong or right answer? It's all about the perspectives which you are having towards corporate social responsibility. But to be honest, if you ask me, my personal opinion, you have to, first of all, you have to do, I have heard this since my childhood, that do your hard work, do your karma, and then ultimately you will get results. Once you get that position where you want to be, please help others to come up to that level, so that we as a society all together can grow. And in that sense, we have to consider environment, all those interaction. That means whole ecosystem has to be considered. So in that manner, CSR is important. And either ways, if you want to do it, based on compliances, you are going to Europe, and you have to follow their legal norms. You are going to any other region, you have to follow those rules. Then also you are ultimately following corporate social responsibility. And if you want to do it voluntarily, then also it is fine. So some standards are there, as I told you, that ISO 26000, which is written here, is the standard. If you have, let's say, if you are a company and you are following CSR, this logo ISO 26000 would be there, okay, on your products, that this company follows ISO 26000 standard. If I ask you what are the key drivers, why anybody wants to do CSR in the first place? So maybe they have their self-interest. Those people who want to follow, they are so humble, even after achieving so much, they want to do things because it gives them self-contentment and inner peace. Okay, so you can build this CSR. You can cultivate this practice in people by enlightening their self-interest, by creating that energy, that synergy of ethics, that we have to build a cohesive society. We are together in this, you know. So let's say in COVID era, if anybody in our neighborhood was running out of, oxygen cylinders, for example, they always ask, used to ask each other that, can we arrange it through networking? Can we arrange it in 24 hours? And so what is this? We are following our social responsibility. But when it comes to business, we have to attain this self-interest to do it voluntarily for our corporate world. Okay, to build a global economy, global sustainable economy. Let's say if one country is deprived of capital, is deprived of labor, then another capital intensive, labor intensive country can provide that company and help it. So this is how we can build that sustainable global economy where markets, labor, communities, environment are able to function well together, right? So create that self-interest to invest in social things. Okay, maybe you can contribute in physical infrastructure. Let's say you want to set up your business where, raw materials are nearby. This is the rule which says, don't invest so much in transportation, don't spend so much in transportation, set up your business near the raw materials. But you find out that wherever you want to set up your business near the raw materials site, you see, infrastructure is not good there. So what you can do? You can hit a bird, two birds with one stone. How? You can, build some roads and schools or some sort of infrastructure which can help you also for transportation and ease of doing business. That would be there. So ultimately, if you are investing in society, you are investing in yourself. So increase contributing to physical infrastructure, and you will see there will be a change in the way which you are doing business and the perspective of yours. Then build transparency and trust. Ultimately, if you have this transparency and trust thing in your business without knowing the keyword corporate social responsibility, you will find that you are already fulfilling the thing. You are following your part of responsibility. Just build trust for people, for customers whom you are serving, and in return, they will have trust in you, the loyalty in you. So in terms of this, ultimately you are, in terms of customers, communities, you are fulfilling your social responsibility. Then if you can increase public expectation of business, we have global companies. So If you are a global company, you know what you can do other than profit generation? You can provide employment to so many people. You can create jobs. You can contribute to the economy through taxes. So ultimately, you are fulfilling the role of a citizen. But how? Through corporate social responsibility. To think it this way. Sometimes when we have price wars or trade wars, just like we had in between China and America, we, not that much, but yes, Cold War sort of thing. We saw that they tried to lay off those people who do not or did not belong to their own country. So if American companies in China and they have hired their local workers, they started laying them off and started to hire those people who belong to their own country. This is not the social responsibility. If you are in host country, it is your ultimately you have to serve that host country also. And if you cannot do, then you are not fulfilling the public expectation of business, and you are not doing the corporate social responsibility then. So think it that manner, a broader perspective. Now we are about to wrap up this class, but before that, here I have put two links. One is for case studies. Here is the link. If I see, these are the 4 case studies. One is for Coca-Cola, what they did right, what they did wrong. You have to read it from here, Coca-Cola. And what was the first one? First is just introduction. Okay, then we have Walmart. You have to read these case studies for next class, and then I'll ask you questions based on it. See here. After Coca-Cola, we have Walmart. And then you will see the conflict of social responsibilities here. And then you will be having Apple. Okay. And lastly, Canon. So these are 4 case studies. You have to go through them, and one by one, I'll ask you questions based in terms of corporate social responsibility from it. Are we on the same page?
Yes, we are on the same page.
Great. Has anybody got any doubts so far? Yes, Enosh?
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask that you please drop the links of those so that we'll be able to open them.
Yes. If
Where are
you
you
see
asking us to
Enosh,
read? Yeah.
I want to tell you a few things. Firstly, if you go here,
Yeah.
just bear with me. Where is it? Here. See, in Teams, you have here, if you go to corporate responsibility channel,
Okay.
it will show you files here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. And all the
Okay,
posts. And in fact, you can go through recordings also, class materials and recording here.
Okay.
I
All
have
right, thank
taken 2 classes of entrepreneurial leadership so far, so you can go through this.
Okay.
One more thing